Good morning. This is the Board of Appeals, Town of Hempstead, April 23rd, 2025, 9:30 meeting. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
I do. Oh, that's nice. For those of you who have not participated in hearings here before, the way we conduct the hearings is as follows. First, we will ask for any adjournments. They will be called first. If there are no adjournments, we'll get into the calendar. If there are any people who are here in opposition to any of the applications, the applicant presents their case first, then the opponent, if any, will be heard, and then the applicant will sum up. As you may be aware, these proceedings are live streamed. They're archived so that you can refer to them in the future if you'd like to. We have a court reporter. We accept all sorts of evidence. We're not constrained by the strict rules of evidence, as this is not a court of law. It's an administrative body. And if I have nothing else to add, Patrick, can you start calling the cases, please?
Mr. Chairman, I do not have any applications for adjournment this morning.
Okay.
First, we have case 17925, Baldwin, Rupnari Nareen Singh and Dinawati Singh Sukra. Renewal of grant to maintain 6-foot-high PVC fence forward a dwelling which may substantially obstruct line of sight and maintain 3-foot-high picket fence within clear sight triangle, also known as 2960 Verity Lane. Mr. Chairman, there's an application for an appearance waiver on this case.
Okay, this is a residential renewal. As such, we will grant the application for an appearance waiver. The building department inspected the premises on February 11th, 2025, and found that all conditions previously imposed by this board have been complied with. Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I would move, Mr. Chairman, that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. The applicant will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Next, we have case 18025, Wantaw, Felix and Lisa Hanneman. Renewal of grant to maintain 5-foot-high fence larger than pool installation area and in front yard setback on Oakfield Avenue, also known as 1298 Chelsea Road. Mr. Chairman, there's also an application for an appearance waiver on this case.
This, too, is a residential renewal. As such, we will grant the application for an appearance waiver. Building department inspected the premises on February 10th, 2025, and found that all conditions previously imposed by the board have once again been complied with. If I have no comments from the board, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. The applicant will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 18125, Merrick H&F Athletics Incorporated, doing business as Carefree Racket Club. Renewal of grant to maintain double-face illuminated detached ground sign, 57.3 square feet per face, and overall size 114.6 square feet. Setback 5 feet from front property line. Clearance 6 feet from grade to bottom of sign, also known as 1414 Jerusalem Avenue.
Is there anyone here on this case? Could you step up, please?
Samantha Berry, 1414 Jerusalem Avenue, North Merrick, New York, 11566.
Folks, you just have to speak up as loud as you can. She also has to be able to transcribe. Okay. Loud and slow.
The rest of the board could hear you very clearly. That's fine. Go ahead.
Kathy Miller, 1414 Jerusalem Avenue, North Merrick, New York, 11566.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so this is a renewal of a grant. Oh, you go first. You apparently have a presentation you'd like to make?
Oh, no.
No? All right, so this case is another renewal. The building department inspected the property on February 11, 2025, and found that you are also in compliance with all conditions previously imposed by the board. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
All right, if not, do I have any questions from the board, or in the alternative, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Perry, Ms. Miller, you'll both receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank
Second,
you, have a nice day.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
It's a
Next week-
great presentation, by the way.
Next, we have case 18225, East Meadow Emmy Food Corporation doing business as McDonald's. Renewal of permit to maintain one double-face illuminated ground sign, overall size 200 square feet, overall height 17 feet, setback 16 feet from property line, also known as 2361 Hempstead Turnpike.
Terrell Dozier, 3 Wedgewood Lane, Huntington, New York, 11743.
Morning.
Morning.
So this is a renewal of a sign permit. The building department inspected the property on February 21st, 2025, and found that all conditions previously imposed by the board have been complied with. Do you have anything you'd like to add, sir?
No.
Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Dozier?
Yes.
You'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second? All in favor? Any
You're all done.
opposed?
Thank you.
Brett?
Next, we have case 18325, West Hempstead, Paul Esposito, renewal of grant to maintain two-family dwelling, also known as 74 Maplewood Street.
Paul Esposito, 74 Maplewood Street, West Hempstead, New York, 11552.
This is a renewal of a grant to maintain a two-family dwelling. Building department inspected the property on February 20th, 2025, and found that all conditions previously imposed by the board have been complied with. Is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, sir.
Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Esposito, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay? Have a nice day. All right, the rest of you, the party's over. We're finished with the renewals. Now you actually have to present cases.
Next, we have case 18425, West Hempstead, Jonathan Maslow. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, construct addition, second-story addition, two-story addition, garage, conversion to living space, and roofed-over open porch, all attached dwelling, also known as 619 Knollwood Drive.
Partially finished basement. What is it?
You're in the Res B.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Start?
Yep.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ashley Lokianis from Mark Anthony Architects. Our address is located at 1563 Belmar Avenue in Belmar, New York. We are here today on behalf of our clients, Mr. and Mrs. Maslow, who are the owners and occupants of the subject property located at 619 Knollwood Drive in West Hempstead.
Have you been to the property?
Yes.
Thank you.
We are here today as a result of an application for a proposed rear one-story addition, proposed two-story side addition, interior alterations, and a proposed porch. The rear addition is for a proposed family room and the existing kitchen to be renovated. The two-story side addition allows for a proposed mudroom with walk-in closet and a proposed laundry room on the first floor, and for a proposed bedroom with loft area and a proposed three-piece bathroom on the second floor. This property is located in a Residence B zone and is just under 7,500 square feet. The proposed lot coverage is 31.33%, where 27.5% is the maximum allowed for this setback, for this zone, for which we are requesting relief of 3.83%. Additionally, the proposed side yard setback located on the west side of the property is 4.74 feet, where 5 feet is the minimum required, and for which we are requesting relief of just 0.26 feet. This also affects the side yard aggregate as well. The proposed aggregate of the side yards is 13.28 feet, where a minimum of 15 feet is required, for which we are requesting relief of 1.72 feet. These are the only requests we have this morning. The rest of the proposed work is compliant with the zoning code. We would also like to note that we filed to maintain the existing basement, the existing fence, and the existing AC units on 3 separate applications, all of which did not require a variance and have since been issued and will be closed out all at once after the proposed work is completed.
There's an open building permit from 1959. Forgive me if you addressed it, but there's a 12-foot by 19-foot rear screen porch. Will that be closed out?
Yes, that'll be closed out along with the 3 applications that my office filed for.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Ms. Lowe, your clients have signed in, but I assume they don't need to be heard. No. I move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Lowe, you and your clients who have signed in will all receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's read.
Second.
Have a nice day, folks.
All in favor?
Aye.
St. Demetrius.
Next, we have case 18525, Merrick, South Nassau Hellenic Community Incorporated, doing business as St. Demetrios Greek Orthodox Church. Erect event tents temporarily from May 15, 2025 through May 18, 2025. East side of Hewlett Avenue, 130 feet south of Annette Avenue, also known as Church Parking Lot.
Joseph Rocco, 56 Central Boulevard, Merrick, New York. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back again on behalf of the St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church with respect to the application we filed for our annual summer festival. This year, we're actually doing it in May, and it's a shorter, smaller version than we've done in the past because of the ongoing construction we've had with the community center that's being built. So we're going to be doing this festival just 4 days. There won't be any rain dates. Thursday, May 15th through Sunday, May 18th.
Pardon my ignorance.
Yes.
So, as you, I know, these generally come before us for the event itself. In this case, did you already get the event approval? Because you're only here for the tents.
Correct. There are no rides. It's like a smaller version than what we normally do because of the construction site. We lost half our parking lot, so we did not do any rides. It's just food.
Pardon me. I've never had one like this. So, Becky, Normally, they have to get the event thing approved. Say it again, I'm sorry, start. Okay, thank you. Now we've learned something today. 20 years, now we've learned
Yes,
something.
and this is the first time I've done this without rides, so it kind of threw me too.
Okay, sir, go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, so with respect to the music, again, we are only using a DJ. We found that we're able to control the volume and the timing of shutting it off. The DJ is actually run by one of the parish council members themselves. The music will end on Thursday and Friday at 10 p.m. On Saturday, music will end at 11, and on Sunday, it ends again at 10 p.m. The hours that we're going to be open are Thursday and Friday from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m., Saturday from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Food, all our food is prepared on site, and it's the same food we've had for years. We do the gyros, Slovaki, hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, Greek pastries. All of our beverages are done by parish council members. I already filed the permit with the New York State Alcohol Division to get the temporary license for beer and wine. That's the only alcohol we serve, and that's done by adults in 2 sections only. We will not, as I said, we will not have any rides this year because of the size of our space. We couldn't fit them in. Sanitation, every year we have a dumpster dropped off by the Department of Sanitation that comes every night to empty it, in addition to the 2 dumpsters that we provide. Our cleanup is done by the parish council members and our Greek Youth Association. Every night they go around to make sure that any and all garbage is picked up and cleaned. And then we have a private cleaning crew come in every night to get it all ready for the next day. For bathrooms, we have 2 sets. We have porta potties outside, but then we also have the church facilities open. And in the basement, which was fully done, there's restrooms down there, so people have a choice of which they want to use. We've already been in contact with the 7th Precinct of Nassau County for security. They're aware of it, and they always send someone down to check it out. And we also have private security as well that'll stay through the night into the morning to keep an eye on the place. All paperwork was filed with the Department of Health, New York State Liquor Authority, and with the building authorities to get us to where we are today. And I think this is the 45th year we're having this festival. Every year it's...
You age well.
Yes, thank you. I took over about 9 years ago, and other than the COVID year, we've had it straight through, never had any incidences, any problems, or anything.
Do you have a rain date?
No, unfortunately, the week after this
Because
was
there's the
Memorial
10th.
Day weekend, and we're fitting it in around the construction schedule. We didn't want to do it on Mother's Day weekend, so we figured the week after, and just going to be those 4 days.
Okay.
So is the tent big enough for everyone to fit in if the rain
Yes,
comes?
Yes. It has rained in the past, you know, especially in June, you get one of those quick summer showers that come through.
And this
Everybody
rain.
ducks under the tent, and then it clears out.
Yeah, because and I've been there on any number of occasions, and
I asked Becky about the fire marshal. Because of its tent, it needs fire marshal approval. You should be aware of that. Will you hold back on a permit before they,
Do they
It was required to be filed upon submitting the application to the tent, for the tent.
Okay.
Oh, so that's already been done?
Yeah.
Or it wouldn't be here? Okay, good.
okay. That concludes your presentation?
Yes.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion
Mike, Kim,
from the bench?
From the bench, yes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Have a nice celebration.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy summer.
Next, we have cases 18625 through 18725, Uniondale, Andreas I. Benavides, and Belgin Benavides, also known as Belgin Orellana. Mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, maintained shed higher than permitted, also known as 1039 Smith Street.
Lisa Koshia with Permits R Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791.
My name is Andres Benavides, 1039 Smith Street, Uniondale, New York, 11553.
Morning.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm here representing Mr. Benavides, who would like to maintain a shed and also a mother-daughter. This property is located in a Residence B zone. The shed is 10 feet, 2 inches in height, where 9 feet is required. Mr. Benavides, as far as the mother-daughter, Mr. Benavides, his wife and 2 children, who are 15 and 17, will reside in the primary unit, which will be upstairs. And their daughter, Belgian, with her daughter, Tatiana, will occupy the secondary unit, which is downstairs. They have all been made aware of the mother-daughter requirements, the 1 doorbell, mailbox, meter, etc. Yes, her daughter wasn't put on there.
No, the baby.
Yeah, can I add the baby on myself?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
is that okay?
Just initial.
Okay. They've all been made aware of the mother-daughter requirements, the 1 doorbell, the mailbox, the meter. Mr. Benavides respectfully requests your approval.
How many cars do they have?
They have 2 cars.
And there's adequate off-street parking?
Yes.
Okay, your client, no, go ahead, go ahead. Your client is aware of the fact that should they sell the house, that the permit is not transferable, okay?
And the kitchen is already, the second kitchen's already in.
Yes.
Did he buy it that way, or?
Yes.
Okay, as you know, Ms. Cuccia, we have to, the Board of Architectural Review reviews each application to see if it's suitable to be used as a multifamily or a immediate family or mother-daughter residence, and if it's suitable to be revert back to its original single-family dwelling at the cessation of the use. In this case, and often there are recommendations made, and this is an opportunity for the applicants to be heard on why such recommendations may not be feasible because of cost, safety issues, etc. In this case, the board has determined that the dwelling is suitable and restorable to a single-family dwelling after the mother-daughter use has ceased, provided there is no illegal occupancy in the basement. What's in the basement?
The basement is like 2 open rooms with a bathroom and laundry room and utilities.
Now, is the bathroom down there legal?
Yes, we filed a permit for it. We
Has it been
legalized it.
Final, closed?
No, it's open.
I don't think it's
On the
closed.
search sheet,
There are
it's
a lot
open.
of things that we filed
you have
for
to
on this
close
home
them,
that have to be closed out once the hearing is.
Is there an exterior entrance to the basement?
No, there's an egress, like a window well egress window.
Is it big enough that a door could be switched into the window?
I mean, you'd have to cut the foundation more in
So
order
it's
to
not
put a door
right
in.
now,
No,
it'll be cut out.
no, you couldn't just put a door where that window is, no.
On the plot plan, it shows the shed that you've discussed already. There's also a dotted square with no notation. So I don't know if that's something that was removed or some other proposal.
It has been removed. It was there when they drew it. It was like a platform and like a contraption, I don't know what you would call it, that you can put a hammock, a large hammock, but they took it down. They don't have it anymore.
Was it a platform ground level?
Like a yes, on the ground.
Where are the plans to this case? Did you file plans?
Yes. I have copies if you need to see.
I need the official set. I'd like you to
that I
note
don't
on that
have.
square, on the official document, that is a removed structure. So that when they go to look at it later, that no one in the building department thinks we approved whatever that dotted line was. No, here they are. Wow. This is pretty slim on plans, Mr. Chairman.
I think that's what she said was removed.
Wait, oh no, this is the shed. We don't have plans for the structure,
Where's that address?
for the house?
Have you been to the house?
No, I've only been exterior on this house.
Because it looks like, Google Earth looks like there's a trampoline there, maybe a fire pit,
They have a second
big
kitchen
shed,
area lighting.
maybe a gazebo.
Can't find it. I need her to make,
all in?
I need the official.
The trampoline, he said, has been removed. There's no more trampoline.
Yeah, Dawn, I'm sorry, make you go back and forth. There's a lot of stuff on here, but it's not on
That
there.
allegedly is what I was asking about, but I didn't know
It looks
that.
like a
That's
gazebo.
Oh, no, that's a jump.
Trampoline,
Yeah.
that's been removed. It looks like a
But
gazebo.
that- That's what I was talking about.
They only have photographs.
The only thing shown on there is the shed in the back right.
You're welcome.
This one she needs to write what that was, and that is already removed, and date and initial. Because that's,
No plans.
yes, there's other things that shown. Yeah, that she needs to write, you know, whatever that was, gazebo, whatever it was, blank remove and date it, and initial.
Gazebo to be removed. That was removed as well.
Yeah?
I hate it when they don't give me elevation. Becky, as part of filing an application, I've been noticing lately, mother-daughter immediate families, they're not giving me elevations, and I need them. Do they have to provide elevations to you guys?
That was a gazebo that was removed. Do you want me to write it on there?
What about that one?
But that's not showing on that. That wasn't there.
Right, but if you look at the, look what shows. If you look at the regular plans, look, there's this. Right. And then there's another square right here.
This one, the white, is a tent that you put up, almost like a little, it's like a pop-up tent, but it's not attached to anything, so you can just take that down. Okay. Right?
That was the
And that was that platform, but that's gone too. Okay, thank you. That's okay, and that's also Google Earth, it looks funny. Okay.
And that's a trend. No, it wasn't removed now, she wrote to be removed. Is it removed or to be removed?
At the time, when the plans were drawn, it was to be removed, but now it's removed at this
I
point.
know, but that's why I wanted you to write removed and the date so we knew it was gone. Just write, write today's date and write removed.
Okay, I'll put today's date.
Just because I want the, I want the
I
record
just
to be
copied
clear.
what was on here. Okay. Do you want me to cross out to be? Unless today's 20.
Ms. Kachia, do they have a little fire pit in the back? This the kind everyone has? No, she went there.
I was gonna say, I don't. No, no fire pit.
That little thing, probably just one of those little fire pits.
Do like brick, remove bricks.
They're asking us back. I think it's just one of those little fire pits or something.
No, it's,
She said
you know, it's gonna-
Becky, so on the plans that you want, the BAR plans, the only two entrances are the back of the kitchen and the front door? Are there any sides?
no. Yeah.
it's an egress window.
Shh.
if it's portable.
Becky just said to me, when they do the VAR, so Becky's plans are online.
I don't remember, but it's a bricks that you could even move it, there is no cement, so,
Okay. It's not cemented, I understand.
of course. It's like if you put it there, you place one on top of soil.
Right.
It's this high.
I
Two
understand
layers.
it. Okay. I understand what you're saying. It's okay.
Add, Ms. Cuccia?
No, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision counter. Ms. Cuccia, you and your client and anyone else who may have signed in on the case will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank you, have a nice day.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have case 18825, East Meadow, Letitia Meckie McCain. Variance front yard setback on Cherry Place, maintain one-story addition and roofed over patio, both attached dwelling, also known as 354 Cherry Place.
I do. Dennis Oliver, 924 Newbridge Road, Belmore, New York. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Morning, Mr.
Morning,
Oliver.
Mr. Oliver.
I'm here representing this morning Ms. McCain, 354 Cherry Place, East Meadow. We're seeking permission to maintain a one-story front addition and a rear roofed-over patio. In order to do that, we need a variance for front yard. Apparently, she hired a contractor who told her he was going to file for everything, and he didn't. And he built it without a permit, and she got a stop work order issued, so that's why we're here today.
Wait, you put on a rear addition
Front,
and a front addition.
a front one-story addition, and there's a rear roofed-over patio.
So why does the rear roofed over patio need relief if it's not body occupied or rear?
It does not. The front addition needs the relief
Okay.
for front yard.
That's why I was curious, like,
Yeah,
I don't have that.
the addition was just there, it needed to be covered because it doesn't have a permit, so. We're required to have a front yard of 25.65. We were proposing 18.7 to the addition. The addition will in no way interfere with the clear sight triangle. This is a corner property, so it's not gonna interfere with anybody's view coming to the corner. It's not gonna inhibit traffic. It doesn't block anybody's path when they're backing out of their driveway.
Now, that addition is 8.2 deep? No, 6.8.
6.8, yes, ma'am.
So prior to the addition, what was the front yard? The house already jutted out there a little, right?
Correct.
So what you basically done is just added the 6.8 feet and
That
that
is
little section.
Right, just to make that one bedroom bigger. I do have a consent letter signed by adjoining property owners and people in surrounding property.
We'll accept
Out of
those.
13 people on the list, we have 7 signatures, 1 directly adjoining property owner and 3 directly across the street who have to look at it. We have no objection.
Is that your case, Mr. Oliver?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Oliver, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Everyone have a good day.
You too. Is it McKevitt or McKevitt? Is it McKevitt?
Next, we have case 189 of 25, Atlantic Beach, Ezra and Lauren Merkin. Special exception to maintain cabana higher and larger than permitted and not used only for purposes of showering and dressing in conjunction with the use of the pool. Construction materials and methods not of flood-resistant materials. Flood vents more than 1 foot above grade. structure not elevated 2 feet above BFE, also known as 1458 Bay Boulevard.
I do. Thomas McKevitt, Son, Ward, Braff, Coscignano, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, 11553.
McKevitt or McKeevitt?
McKevitt, not McKevitt. There are many other pronunciations we could do, but today it's still McKevitt. It's remember, it's Frankenstein, not Frankenstein.
Steen or Stein?
Frankenstein.
Okay, wait, Mr. McKevitt, I'm just trying to think. You need larger and higher. I'm trying to think if you can have larger without having horizontal on one side. Can you? It's a 144 though, right?
No,
What is it?
Cubic. Feet.
right.
2 cubic feet. I thought in the past we've always done cabanas under shed.
No.
No?
No.
And you're gonna also have to explain the next one, which in my 20 years here, I've never heard.
This is, actually, before I begin, let me get the exhibits up to you, because this actually has a long and interesting story as we get here. The first thing I'm obviously going to give to you is a number of photographs, which I did personally take last Wednesday. I did visit the site for about 45 minutes, and they are fair and accurate representations of what I saw at that time. More important, number two is I'm going to give you a copy of the plans from permit number 1966-3607, for which a CC was issued in 1967. I also have the assessment cards from the original old cards for the assessment department, is my other exhibit. And the final exhibit I have is a decision issued by the New York State Variance Board of Review, which was decided on September 13th of 2024. So once I give you these exhibits, I'll explain to you how we got to the story we have today. To begin with, as you'll see, this is going to be one of the most significant houses in the town of Hempstead when it's finished construction. If you look at picture number 1 and picture number 2, and the reason why it's so valuable house is when you see the view on picture number 3.
Well, not to mention the size of the lot, 165 by 125?
Is a 23,000 square foot lot. Basically the square footage of the house will be 4,900 square feet. The house will be nearly 10,000 square feet in living area, and no variance is required whatsoever to construct that house.
What'd you say it was, 10 what?
It'll be almost 10,000 square feet of living space. And again, we endeavored very hard with the architect to design this house, be first of all compliant with the flood requirements, which are numerous in this area. We also, of course, had a boundary line agreement, so we were able to buy the lot. So there's been, it took about 4 years just to get to the spot at this point.
Okay, but hold on. It's not a new build, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, I thought it was a remodel of,
No, we demolished. It was originally a split before then. It was leveled to the face of the earth, and this, again, is quite a significant home that's being built at this point.
how long have they been building it?
They've been building it for about 2 years.
And then, wait, well, if they only started 2 years ago, is it the house or the cabana that's not?
I'm only here for the cabana. I'm not here for the house.
Okay, so that's what's not 2 feet above the.
Believe me, everything else is by flood zone. It's actually in the floodway that we went through the state. Everything is compliant with this house. I sat with Mr. Albert on probably about 9 months before we even submitted the application.
Okay, I'm so happy to hear we're only here for the cabana.
Right, so let's talk about the cabana. So as you can see, originally this cabana was built as a 2-car detached garage, which was in conjunction with a split-level home. As you can see, the permit for that was issued in 1966. And essentially, the footprint and essentially almost half the windows, actually, are in exactly the same place as they were in 1967. The interesting part of the story happens when you look at the old assessment cards, particularly in the second page, and you indicate the use was guest house cabana built in 1967. So my belief is almost immediately it was converted to an illegal cottage and illegal residence. Almost immediately. So, and it had been there. Now, our clients bought the property in 1999, and already been used that use. My clients have never used it for that purpose. They have never needed it for that purpose. They are funds where it was never an issue. But that's essentially how they bought the property and just essentially left it pretty much for storage, you know, from 1999 until the present day. For what it's worth, this structure did go through Sandy. It survived Sandy quite well. If you look at the photos on the interior, which were taken some quite some time ago, pictures 9 and 10, you can see where the flood line was. The flood line is only about 18 inches off the floor of the premises, but you can see where the sheetrock was actually removed when Sandy hit back in 2012. So as it comes down to this point, the Merkins decide to consolidate properties and want to build this very steven home. And as you can see, really what the purpose and what this structure has really been used at, for as far as the Merkins were there, is really just a cabana and pool house. If you look at photograph number 7, you'll see it's located densely right next to the structure at that point. It's next to the pool. That concrete pool has been there, again, almost since 1968. So the pool was almost originally when it was used as a garage, or again, designed as a garage.
Right, Mr. McKevitt, so the second page of the county records that we're looking at,
Yes.
that show the Cabana Guest House, 1967, also show that it has a gas boiler in it.
Right.
That's for the Cabana, right?
Right.
Now, is there going to be a heat source go forward in it?
There's a heat source, because I'll tell you what we've actually designed for this building. If you look at the plans, there will be a bathroom in it, but we've actually designed it, the bathroom will only have an exterior entrance. So if you look at the plans, it's located in the northwest corner. There will obviously be guests who are using the pool. Again, they have a very large extended family, and you have kids showering out there. But to ensure the board, we didn't want to think you were going to make it into an illegal use, you can only access the bathroom from the outside. There's no interior access happen. And obviously, you need hot water, you need to go and heat it, so there will be heating and air conditioning for that purpose.
So
but as
wait.
you can see, it'll be vacant. There'll be nothing modified in the middle. I mean, they're making it very clear. And again, when you look at the house, the extent of this house, there are actually servants' quarters built into the house on the first floor.
Wait, so this issue, just to simplify, for me at least, the issue of it not being, so wait, the cabana that was there in 67 is the same structure now.
Exactly the same.
That's why it's not built high enough under the new flood maps.
Right.
And the materials issue that's raised about the flood-resistant materials, the same reason that it's not flood-resistant materials, because it's the structure that was built then?
Correct.
In essence?
Essentially, and that's actually been modified to an extent, because after we got through the state board and finally got throughout in September, and that took 10 months.
And that's a state variance for these items?
It was the state variance for essentially the height, because it's not located 2 feet above the design
The
flood
height of the
elevation.
floor. Okay, keep
Right.
going.
So as part of that variance, that's why it went to the board at that point. But their requirements under their decision is that the interior must be made of flood-resistant materials. So what we are going to do now is up to the design flood elevation, we're removing the sheetrock and putting in wonderboard. So essentially, that part of the variance has really been made obsolete because the state has required us to do that.
Is that the only portion?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So then that means this is not obsolete because the framing still is not adequately flood-proof. So for that section, those 2 feet, so
Right.
this issue of the materials,
Yes.
is that only for the first 2 feet?
Well, on the interior, we're ripping out the sheetrock and putting wonderboard to the 2 feet above at the design flood, which when you look at the materials is halfway up the structure.
But is the entire variance that related to materials, the use of this construction materials, a variance for the portion of the structure, whether it's framing or interior,
Yes.
that is below the DFE?
Correct.
Above the DFE, you don't need any variances?
Correct. But again, our perspective is it's been there since 1967, and it actually survived Sandy pretty well, actually. It really did.
I got you.
So again, when it comes down to the requirements that under the board, the building ordinance for the cabana, I mean, obviously we're here because of height. because you're only allowed 7.5 feet, we're 15. Again, that's how the building was built in 1967. Again, we're here for size. Again, that's how it was built in 1967. There was also an objection that it was not going to be used solely for showering and dress in conjunction with the swimming pool. We're going to use it for the storage of the furniture during the winter months. So rather than keep it in this brand-new house, which cost in the many, many of millions of dollars, and frankly, it's a much shorter distance. When you talk about the kids' play equipment, the furniture, we're just going to throw it into the pool house, the cabana during the winter.
So if we were inclined to grant this, and council was preparing a grant decision, what would be the condition that would appropriately describe that the pool house, as it relates to that request, shall not be used for anything other than those items and storage of pool and children's toys and pool and yard furniture or something like that?
The pool furniture. Exactly, the pool furniture, yes.
So we'll just say storage.
Right, storage.
So it can be showering, dressing, and storage.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the uses.
And we can limit the grant of non-flood resistant materials to any portion of the structure below the DFE.
Of, I would say, the interior portions of the DMV.
But what about the framing?
The framing, again, the state gave us a variance on that because it was built.
But I think you need a variance for non-flood resistant materials, all
Okay.
non-flood resistant materials below the DFE, don't you?
That's what we're asking for the variance for.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we limit the
Tech-
variance,
yes.
the grant, to non-flood resistant materials,
Right.
as it's worded here,
Yes,
in the structure, whether it's exterior, interior, or framing, below the DFE, and we'll state the number, whatever that is.
yes.
Okay.
My favorite part, the decision the state gave, was also the electrical outlets have to be above the DFE. So my favorite thing in this whole requirement is they're doing as per safety. So let's say a woman is outside, she's taking a shower, she's got the salt water, and now she wants to go inside the bathroom and dry her hair. You know, she's got to get on a ladder to plug in the outlet to dry her hair because the outlet's going to be up in the middle of the air. And I confronted the state on that. I said, do you realize the requirement you are writing into this decision? And the response to me was, well, your other option is you can just raise the entire structure above the DFE. That was the response I got.
By the way, what is the fit? It sounds like the DFE isn't just down low.
Oh,
What's the finished floor at?
It's about halfway up the size of the structure.
Okay.
About halfway. I'm looking at the permits right now, but it's significantly high. It's high.
Did you provide us with the state so we can incorporate
Yeah.
it? Okay,
Yeah, I
you
gave you a
got
copy
that.
of the state decision. Yeah. When you look at it was supposed to be a year ago. So it's obviously it's a very significant construction. That's where it's going. But yeah, when you look at the plans, the DFE is over halfway up the height of the structure.
Do they live in the house now?
No, it was good. They also have a place in Manhattan. So essentially, this is really going to be a summer house.
Wow.
A 10,000 square foot summer house.
The lot alone, 23,000 square foot lot.
It was originally 20,000. We got a boundary guard agreement. We had to buy from the town the other 3,000 feet, and it was not a cheap price. It was a very expensive price.
Wow, nice house.
Yes, it is. I'm in East Meadow. I'm not living there.
Maybe they'll let you park your boat there.
No. No way. So essentially, that's my presentation for, again, a very unusual structure, unusual situation.
Yeah, two things I've never seen in 20 years.
Me neither.
Any other questions from the board? Not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. McKevitt, I don't know if your clients are here, but you and anyone else who signed in on the case will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's ready.
Thank you.
Have a
Second.
nice day, Mr. McKevitt.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, we're going to call it.
Next, we're calling case 194 of 25, Franklin Square, Frank A. Franzi, variance, rear yard setback, construct second-story addition over
That's it.
garage, also known as 747 Carlisle Avenue. Mr. McKevitt, you are already sworn in, so just your name and address for the record.
Did you see two things?
Good morning. Frank Franzi, 747 Carlisle Avenue, Franklin Square, New York, 11010.
Once again, Thomas McKevitt, Son, Ward, Raff, Coscignano, 333 Irvington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, 11553. Before I do begin, again, I have photographs which I personally took last Friday of the premises. Again, they are fair and accurate representations of what I saw at that time. So I ask those be marked as exhibit. As indicated, I represent Mr. Frank Franzi in this matter. Its address is at 747 Carlisle Avenue, Franklin Square. It's at Section 35, Block 624, Lot 5 on the tax map and land map of Nassau County. It is a residential B zone. This dwelling was constructed in 1951 as a two-story, one-family dwelling. The lot is 6,003 square feet, as it's 90 feet wide and 66.7 feet deep. The dwelling is 1,476 feet, so we comply with lot coverage at 24.6%. They were before this board in 2016 for a number of variances. That was for to construct the garage, construct the swimming pool, and for a roof over the patio. And those were in cases, I believe, 702 of 16 and 703 of 16. And for what it's worth, I do have copies of those decisions for the board as well, too. I'll give it to the council, so I have the record of those. So essentially...
Wait, Mr. McKevitt,
yeah.
can I just ask you, I'm looking at this plot plan, and the only zoning that I see on here is the rear yard requiring 25 and being provided at 13.9, but that's not before us now, right?
Yes, it is. That's the only variance we need. The only variance we need is for the rear yard.
We skipped case. I'm sorry. I was looking, the next one is front yard only, and I'm like, what?
We're not doing anything in the front yard.
Thank
I'll give you
you.
that.
Well, we went out of order.
So, well, two things I want to make it clear to the board, and just to clarify. So, the application before you was for a proposed addition over the garage. And when I arrived at the premises last Friday, I was quite surprised to see it's there. It's already been built. Mr. Fanzi, again, it's for storage of the house. Again, he does apologize. They did rush to it to that extent, but it was built without the benefit of a permit. And we're saying that to this day. So it is what it is. But the only reason why we're here today is a rear yard. And, yeah.
But he knew because he had an application filed. You got to wait next time, all right?
Absolutely, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yes, he's getting used to getting maintained, unfortunately. And obviously the paperwork costs more. I tell him that's not the way to do things. It's certainly you want to go and get the proposal beforehand. Remember, because it's a corner property, technically, when you look at the photo for number one, on the right-hand side is technically the rear yard and not the side yard. So if this were not a corner property, he'd only be required to have the 5-foot side yard setback. But because that's considered the rear yard, you're required the 25 feet. But it's already where the garage is. So we're not increasing any variance what was already there extensively. They've already, again, this board back in 2016, in the case of 703 of 16, has already granted the variance for the rear yard waiver of the 13 feet when 25 is required in that instance. So that is the only variance we need. Again, we're complying with lot coverage, and that's really the extent of it at that point. As you notice, again, when you look at the photographs, when it comes down to their house is actually rather modest, particularly when you look at the houses in picture number 10, which is Cato Court to the rear of theirs. You're dealing with very significant houses back in the instance. I do know Mr. Panzi has spoken to his neighbors. There's no objection from them. Yeah, he spoke to neighbors. There's been no objection to this whatsoever.
Mr. McKevitt, what about, did you already get he's got a fence that goes forward of the dwelling that's over 6 feet, sits on like a 1-foot wall, and it's right against the neighbor's driveway. Is that fence legal?
That was granted in case permit number 16-1254 in 2016 with the other variances. That was already granted by the board.
Without an angle on it?
There's an angle.
There's an angle.
Look at page 4.
Yeah, there's an angle back there, right?
It's absolutely an angle, yeah.
Mr.
It's an angle, and that's where the door is.
Look at that. Ask Mr. McKevitt about that.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like an angle, does it?
Yeah, you can see
It
it's
goes
there.
all the way to the
There's an
brick.
angle back there.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
absolutely an angle. There's stairs.
Yep, speaking to my phone.
There's stairs, and there's an angle that goes on the side.
Yeah. You can see there's an angle
There's
because
like
when
a
you,
stair- If you look closely, there's a stair. You see like that, there's,
So the 1-foot brick wall stops at the edge of the angle?
yes.
Wow. Thank you, Joanne.
Right, when you look at the photo, when you look at those posts don't go flush perpendicular to the property. Those posts are part of the angle.
Oh, yeah, I have Joanne.
It's angled.
Yeah, we have to.
Right, so back in 2016, the variances were both the roof over the rear, yeah. Yeah. And my client just pulled up the Google Earth photo, which will show there's definitely an angle there. Yes. Right. But it's definitely angled. It was built as per, it has CCs for everything. The CCs were issued.
Mr. McKeevitt?
Now I have nothing further.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. McCavitt, you and your client will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered, and once you're notified and get a permit, then you can do any other building.
Yes. Thank you.
Second.
Members of the
thank you
board.
very much.
All in favor?
to
Any
you.
opposed, any abstentions? Steph, are you okay?
One more case?
Next, we have cases 190 of 25 through 192 of 25, West Hempstead, Deborah Ginsburg. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, rear yard, construct one-story addition attached to dwelling, remove existing deck. Variance, lot area occupied, maintain shed. Variance, side yard, maintain AC unit attached to dwelling, also known as 585 Euclid Avenue.
Just for those of you here, we're going to hear this case. We're going to have to take 10 minutes and let the court reporter rest her hands, and then we'll resume again for those of you who want to use that 10 minutes somehow. I have to chair, Joe, so you got to do me.
Hello, I am Deborah Ginsburg, 585 Euclid Avenue, West Hempstead, New York.
Andrew Shear, 391 Garfield Avenue, West Hempstead, New York, 11552.
Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. I am here today for Mrs. Ginsburg to request a variance for a one-story addition on their home. They currently have a deck, and the deck occupies 37.4% of the lot. That was a BZA grant. We're proposing to put a one-story addition in place of the deck, even a little bit smaller, and the total lot coverage will be 36.5% with a rear yard setback of 7 feet.
What, Mr. Shear? So you said the deck occupies 34, but you meant the overall coverage with the deck is 34.
37.4.
37.4. And you're reducing that by
To
removing the deck,
36.5.
putting on the addition
Correct.
to 36.5. Okay,
Correct.
keep going.
The rear yard variance required is for a 15-foot rear yard setback, and we are requesting 7 feet. We are adding a one-story bedroom, bathroom, and laundry room. It is a split-level house, and Mrs. Ginsburg has multiple medical conditions, and doing the stairs is certainly a problem. So putting all of that on the main floor with the kitchen, dining room is very important to her.
Becky, isn't the rear yard 25 on the first floor, 15 on the second, or vice versa? Okay.
Thank you. So that is the variance for the, there's also a side yard aggregate where 15 foot is required, and we have 14 foot 11 inches, so for 1 inch. I should have set it back an inch, really. So there's also two other variances, two other cases. Case number 191, which is for the shed, to maintain the shed. There is a 10-foot by 11-foot 6 shed. It has the required rear and side yard setbacks, but that also requires a lot area occupied, which falls under the 36.5% in total with the previous mentioned variance. The third variance is for a side yard to maintain an air conditioning unit attached to the house. It is one of those split unit that is mounted onto the wall of the house that only has 4-foot side yard clearance. Those are the three cases of variances that we are here for today. There was also a fence on the property where we applied for a separate permit on the fence, which was previously approved recently, and the permit was pulled.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Shear, you and your client will both receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Thank
opposed?
you.
Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
So I told him you're taking a 10-minute break after that case.
After that case?
Yeah, because she said.
I would have done it after the next case, but okay. All right, so somebody made a decision to take a 10-minute break without my permission, but we'll take a 10-minute break.
Next, we have case 19325, East Meadow, Robert Verity. Variance, average front yard setback, construct a second-story addition with 2-foot cantilever, both attached dwelling, also known as 1667 Meadow Lane.
Brian Fiore, 208 North Wisconsin Avenue, Massapequa, New York, architect, appearing on behalf of Rob Verity. We're proposing a second-story addition with a second-floor front cantilever. It encroaches the average front yard setback. Average front yard setback is 24.94. The current house is 25.2, so we're coming out 2 feet for a proposed front yard setback at the second story of 23.2 feet. It's a pretty common variance. The house, 2 houses over, had the same exact variance. I have a copy of that decision. We're also proposing a portico that meets the permitted encroachment, and it's a pretty routine variance.
Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. You will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Next, we have case 19525, near East Rockaway, Anthony Cooper. Variance, average front yard setback, construct portico attached dwelling, also known as 7 Hewlett Point Avenue.
Good morning. My name is Timothy Lambert. I'm the architect. My address is 3012 Fortescue Avenue, Oceanside, New York, 11572.
Morning.
Today I'm here on behalf of Anthony Cooper for a proposed portico over the front door of the house. It's going to be a very simple portico, 2 columns and a roof. It's approximately 9 by 6 in size, so very modest improvement to the home, just to protect the door and give it a sense of entry. Now, the portico requires a front yard variance, a front yard setback variance. The required front yard setback is 23.24 feet, and the provided setback is 20 feet. So that is a small encroachment of 3.24 feet.
I'm sorry, what was the number you said for the proposal?
So it's proposed to be 20 feet of a front yard setback, and the requirement is 23.24 feet.
Right. I thought you said 28 instead of 20, that's why I was confused.
Right. It's in the residential C, so any porticos under 1 story can be within the front yard setback up to 6 feet. We're a little bit further than that, but it is a modest improvement, and that's really all the client wants to do is improve the house.
The portico is going to be enclosed or open?
No, it's open. It has 2 columns and an open porch-type
And
roof.
I would expect, or the board would expect, that your client agree to a condition that it's not to be enclosed?
Yes, that's fine.
Any other questions from the board? Not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. You'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Okay, thank you.
Second, all in favor? Any opposed?
Next, we have case 19625, Merrick Michael Bender. Variance, lot area occupied, maintain roofed over patio attached dwelling, also known as 1709 Willis Avenue.
Got photos? Oh, Mr. Hikita. Long time no see.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the
Mr.
board.
Hagita, we haven't seen you in a while.
I've been hiding.
Well, somewhere sunny, I guess, because you're awfully tan.
No, my daughter just turned out 16 and started driving. It's a very horrifying film.
That's why you got gray hair?
Yes. David Higuita, 280 Main Street, Suite 25, Farmingdale, New York, 11735.
Blood pressure.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this case is about a rear roof over done on this house. Front, rear, side yard setback aggregates are in compliance with the code. This is just about the lot coverage. Now, please let me clarify to the board that since this house was built, it was a matter of a variance. So to begin with, the house lot coverage was going to be affected no matter what. We submitted 9 letters of support from neighbors.
We have those.
Nobody has a problem with this roof, and I hope this board grant the decision read it to you today by Mr. Bender.
You're aware of the fact that your client has an open building permit from, to maintain a 6-foot-high vinyl fence. That'll be
Correct.
closed out as well.
It will be closed. I will
Okay.
personally take care of that.
Have any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Aguirre, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Thank you very
Second,
much.
all
It's
in
great to
favor?
see you all again.
Nice to see you. Have a nice
Please be well.
Next, we have case 19725, Woodmere, David Rabinowitz and Lauren Katz. Variances, height, rear yard setback, maintain second-story addition to dwelling. Variance, side yard setback, maintain 5 AC units attached to dwelling, also known as 333 Grant Avenue.
This is with the other thing.
Good morning, Shmuel Flaum, 194 Wanzer Avenue, Inwood, New York, 11096. Applicant of record.
David Rabinowitz, 333 Grant Avenue, Woodmere, New York.
Good morning,
Mr.
Chairman
Flaum.
and members of the board. I am here today seeking relief from variances being sought at the single-family dwelling. The drawing set you have before you is a supplemental drawing set for as-built conditions of a house that was initially filed in 2018 or 19 by a different applicant. That applicant unfortunately is deceased, and I have superseded as applicant to take care of getting this project moving forward to sign off. That being said, I prepared a set of drawings showing the as-built conditions of the house. You have the drawings before you. I'm just going to list off of the variances that we're seeking. The variances being sought under this application are for a building area. The building area is 35.28%. Then we have the height variance being sought for the as-built roof at allowable of 30 feet. It was built at its highest point, 33 feet. And then there is also an existing staircase from the second floor.
3 feet over height?
What?
3 feet over the required or?
At the highest point, there's a ridge in the middle, is at 33 feet, but at the perimeter, if you take a look at the drawings and elevation, it's 30 feet. But at the highest point interior in the mechanical room, it is 33 feet at the top of the ridge.
Ridge height says 42.8
That's the
elevation.
elevation. And then there is a staircase from the second floor to the attic level. It is a mechanical attic. There's mechanical equipment up in the attic. There's no windows, there's no habitable space. It's simply storage and mechanical space. Those are the variances being sought, aside from the 5 AC units in the side yard that are installed. I have a letter here in support from the adjacent homeowners and some other homeowners. I'd like to submit in evidence, and I believe some of them were filled out online as well for those who didn't submit or sign in person.
We'll accept those.
If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer whatever I can.
This is a maintain, right?
It is a maintain on a supplement for original house that was approved.
Was it approved by the board?
I don't think it was in front of the board previously, to my knowledge. I think it's now in front of the board for maintain purposes on these items.
What was it When it came before the board before, did it have a height variance?
No, it was never
said
before the
it didn't.
board for height variance. It's now in front of the board now.
It was built as an as-of-right house.
I believe it was built as a right house. I looked
When?
through the zoning. 2019 is when it was approved. We started construction around COVID time.
Wait, just let me go on I wanna, so in 2019, they got a permit to build an as-of-right house.
As of right in terms of height, but I believe, from what I can tell, the drawings,
Wait,
No, Becky, did this come before the board before?
hold on, but
Thank you.
wait.
Okay,
So
now.
regardless of height, if it didn't come before the board at all, it was an as-of-right house.
correct. In that sense, it was as a right house.
And now it builds it as a right, and then violates height, which is one of the most sacred things, rear yard and side yard, 3 variances.
So the rear yard is an interesting one. I did a little research on the property. There was a one-story covered pergola that was originally approved by the BZA in like 1972, that the BZA granted that construction.
So, you know, you're confusing me. To your knowledge, it never came before the board.
Correct.
And now, to your knowledge, you cite a particular case.
So it came before the board as a one-story.
Tell us the straight
Wait, as
skinny.
a one-story?
No, the pergola. He's talking about the pergola.
Oh,
You're confusing things.
Apologies. Okay.
Unconfuse us.
Sorry. In 1972, I think approximately, from what I can see, this house came before the board to maintain that one-story rear addition, but it wasn't an addition at the time. It was a covered outdoor space. When I superseded as applicant, I noticed that it was since enclosed, not by my client, but a previous owner. I brought it to the attention of the chief plan examiner that I believe it was in violation of that original BZA that was granted and would need to be
I thought
remedied.
they never came before the BZA.
Not this,
That was as of right. How long ago was that grant? Okay, keep going. So they violated the condition on the prior grant?
it was bought, purchased, enclosed. The homeowner who currently owns it did not know about that BZA grant because it never came to their attention. I brought it to the attention when they came to me to supersede as applicant. And I brought to the attention of the chief plan examiner that it was in violation of a previous grant that permitted that one-story piece to encroach in, and now was already enclosed.
When was the piece of the structure that needs a height variance put on? Was that the one put on as part of the 2019 permit?
That is correct.
And how much higher is what was put on than was, well, as of right, you're allowed, are you in a FEMA zone?
No, it's not in the FEMA flood zone, it's in a regular.
So you're allowed 30 from the crown.
Correct.
And what are you from the crown?
33 at the highest point of the ridge, but at the perimeter.
33 from the crown.
Yes,
Okay, so you put on at least, someone put on at least 3 feet more than was allowable.
correct.
And where's that 3 feet? Is that shape of the roof or what?
It's only at the high point of the roof. If you take a look at sheet A300, there's a section through the building, and you can see that at the perimeter, because it's a gambrel-shaped roof, so at the perimeter, it's complying at 30 feet, and only at the midpoint is it at 33, but there are collar beams and cross ties running throughout the structure.
What kind of roof was it originally approved with? Same kind?
I think the same
So how did we
kind.
get 3 feet extra so that we have a giant attic?
That
you
is a
stand
good
up in?
question. Again,
How about a good answer?
the answer was that no one was around to supervise the subs because it was during COVID and people were not paying
The
attention.
sub's not just gonna build something 3 feet different than the plans the sub's looking at.
So again, I wasn't even the applicant, so I don't know all the answers.
Well, did he ask his contractor?
When, I actually was the GC at the time, and during COVID, I was kind of kicked out of my house. I didn't know where to live, and I was living upstate. So I was really coming back and forth, depending on whoever was there, helping me oversee
Right, but
this.
I'm framing a house. I actually used to frame houses. I'm framing a house and I'm looking at a set of plans that the building department approved. How is it I just go, you know what, screw it. Let's just add 3 more feet on this so we have a big giant attic we can turn into a 3rd story. How is that happen? What was the explanation you received?
Well, they started and stopped a bunch of times. We got stopped by the police during COVID and said you cannot work. And then came back a month later, there was a bunch of stop and goes.
But when the building inspector, I presume it's the building inspector that discovered upon inspection that it was 3 feet higher than it was supposed to be.
I don't think so.
Okay, who discovered it? Okay. He said
I
she-
brought it to the attention of the chief planning examiner.
Okay, and so when the planning examiner said, hey, this house is 3 feet higher than it's allowed to be, did you ask why? Did you ask the people who built it that way? It's not a small, measuring error. Talking about someone who said, oh, these are the plans what I'm supposed to build, but forget it, I'm gonna build it 3 feet high. Did anyone ask the person who did it? What plans were you going by? Or what the heck are you doing? Do we know?
I mean, we asked, but I didn't know.
Do we think the framer is the one responsible?
I think so. I mean, that's.
Wait, if I have a permit, I build a house, and the guy builds it 3 feet taller, not just an error I can overlook, because now I have to go to zoning. I'm not gonna ask the guy, hey, lower, and wait, when was it discovered? Becky, does the framing instructor inspect the framing before they do more stuff? I know they're supposed to. Right, but COVID's been over for a while, and you're just here now. You haven't asked anyone? Are you planning to sue someone for the expense and the time and all that it's cost you?
I didn't even know, honestly.
But you've known long enough to file this, how long? When was this application filed? I mean, unfortunately, from what I hear from a lot of litigants, it takes a little while to get through here. Get out of the building department, so you had to put your new plans in to the building department, get them rejected, get a file going here, get them appealed, put out notices. I mean,
It's taken a very long time, especially
Right.
because our first architect is
and
no longer
if
around.
the plans and the permit were accurate, which sounds like they were, one would think you'd be seeking to redress the wrong.
Right, that's why we're here, trying to hopefully
Yeah,
rectify
but this
this.
doesn't redress the way you were wrong. This is seeking to, I don't know, this guy, whoever did this, someone's to blame, and this is very egregious. I'm sorry. Like, this isn't, oh, we measured wrong and we're 6 inches over. This is, if it was the same style roof and it's 3 feet higher, there's a lot that was redone differently than, it's not just one beam got put in the wrong place. For this style roof, someone literally had to plan out to build it 3 feet higher from a fairly, right? You can't just add a little bit. They had to
So, to his defense, I was just looking at the original approved drawing set, and the numbers there don't add up from what was built. Like, they just don't make sense. Like, they're showing a 10-foot floor to ridge height for the attic, and based on the numbers that we have of the existing as-built, we're under that. So,
Oh, wait, so now the attic is built smaller than originally planned, but we're still 3 feet higher than we're supposed to be.
that's the crazy part.
Yeah, I'd say crazy is one word.
What? Irrespective of being approved, what you have in front of you is the as-built accurate conditions of what's currently there.
You live in the house yet, or is it not to that point?
I live in it.
I mean, I don't see how this
So,
wasn't an error. This wasn't an oversight. This wasn't a measuring error. There's no way it's possible.
so one of the interesting things is that even though it is higher than 30 feet at that point, if you take a look at the drawing in section, it's really not usable. It's at 6'2". There's a series of cross beams. So it's not very different from your typical attic that we do nowadays as we file.
Except that it's 3 feet too tall.
but only in one specific area, not throughout. In fact, a majority of the attic is below 6 feet because of the roof design.
But imagine if it were the right height, it would only be 30 at that small section, and the rest would be even lower, which matters to people outside, looking at it, the character, everything. It's just,
I'm in agreement,
and
but
I find it hard to believe that, I don't know a person who would have a builder do this and cause me all these problems, and I didn't say, first of all, fix it now. I'm not gonna spend that kind of money going to zoning, or, you know, I'm suing you. You're gonna pay every penny of this effort, and I'm losing time, et cetera, but I guess he's living in it, because that wasn't, I just, and no one asked the guy, why the heck did you build a structure from a street, different by a demolition from the plans you were looking at when you built it?
so I totally hear where you're coming from. I had an issue during COVID where one of the builders built a roof not in compliance with the drawings that I had filed and approved, and the roof collapsed a year later on July 4th while the person was living in the house and wrecked his entire house. And then when they did their forensics afterwards, they went and looked and said none of the framing supports in the attic matched what I showed on my drawing set. So
Right, which is exactly my point. Somebody didn't measure a little wrong. They had to start with the intent, lower down of, you know, at least for the whole roof structure. They didn't just stick a few pieces of iron. This thing had to be, everything in the attic probably had to be changed like the 3 feet. They had to this was not an error.
well, I don't know if it wasn't not an error, but it definitely the contractor. What?
How could the builder be looking at the buildings to build this thing and mess it up by 3 whole feet?
It's a good question, but I know from dealing with some builders that sometimes the framers, they take a lot of, what's the word? A lot of liberty to do what they want to do on site, to change something, to frame it a better way.
Yeah, but this is different. Framing it a better way, like in the wall. And also, the mere fact that you're suggesting they didn't go by the plan, that's another negative. I just, the whole thing. Anyway,
I agree with you 100%, but that's why I brought it to the attention of the building department as soon as I saw it as a superseding applicant. I said, something's really problematic here. There's so many items.
appreciate that. It's just, you know,
It's frustrating.
not acceptable, the situation.
Excuse me,
What do the houses in the other area look like? You know, in the area, what are the other houses like? Are they big
There's some that are,
houses?
there's some that are taller, there's some that are the same height. They're all about 2.5 stories in a similar fashion.
The one beside it, what does it look like?
The one on the right side or left side?
The tall one?
The one looks, it's a Central Hall Colonial. I'm pretty sure their attic is probably bigger than mine, taller than mine.
Said
The
that the neighbor
houses-
has a house that's taller with,
Across the street, same thing, taller than mine.
so a lot of the houses are taller than his.
The one across the street, you have a big one across the street?
Tremendous, yes.
excuse me, is there a framing inspection by the building department after you finish framing it?
So there usually is framing inspection prior to moving forward. During COVID, they suspended all the inspections by the building inspectors. They weren't allowed to go out in the field.
Well, you're the architect, right? Didn't
I
you
wasn't
go-
the
didn't-
architect.
Didn't you go to inspect this?
I wasn't the architect at the time. I superseded as the applicant about a year and a half ago because the applicant who filed and got the application approved is deceased at this moment. So I came in after this whole thing was done.
By the way, excuse me, who was the original architect?
I think it was Norman Wax.
Who?
Norman Wax, I believe. If I was in from the beginning, there wouldn't be an error. Oh, yes. The contractor's sub would have been hearing from me immediately being, you made a boo-boo, please correct it. No, I told her, I'm in total agreement that this whole thing is a cluster mess, as we'll say politically, right? It's a big problem, and I was just trying to help them move it and get it signed off, and I believe it's because there was very little oversight by the homeowner because he wasn't living locally, he was living up in upstate, and the contractor was hiring subs, and they were just doing whatever they wanted to do, because if you look at the original approved plans and the ones I submitted as supplemental, even the plans don't match. Like, they were just doing things on the fly. It's ridiculous, by the way. Like, the whole interior doesn't even match up. I agree with you. 100%. I just want to bring to the attention of the board that if you take a look at the section on A4 300, the highest point of the attic that's usable is 6'2", and that's at the 30 feet. The pitch that goes from 30 to 33 is actually not even visible so much from the street, but on top of that, it's above collar ties or cross beams to tie the whole roof together, because for a gambrel structure, you need to have cross ties where the two different angles, the higher pitch and the lower pitch, connect. Otherwise, the roof can't even stand.
To verify that that's built that way?
Yeah, I was there. I took pictures. I had it submitted all.
But I mean, it's all sheetrock now, so how do you get in there?
It's not sheetrock.
Oh,
It's
not?
open. It's literally a mechanical space and open storage. There's no finish in the entire attic.
I hit my head in when I go in there for storage.
You know what's really kind of distressing, troubled with me, is that you were the GC and you just allowed this to go forward. I'm having
agree
trouble with that.
I had a lot of subs on this. I'm really a
I don't care.
landscaper. and
You admitted under oath that you were the GC and you were the responsible one. And you shirked your responsibility.
I 100% agree with that, and I understand now why Nassau County changed the way they do their home improvement contractor's license, because I'm really a landscaper and a landscape contractor, but I was able to pull that permit at the time. And this definitely taught me a lesson not to build a house and stick to landscaping.
It looks, but it's not 100% the same. Like, even things inside are different than what was on the approved plan. That's what the supplemental shows. Yeah, basically. Yeah, but within the allowable footprint. Yeah. Yes, it's very bizarre. I've never had this on any of my own projects that I am on from the beginning. I don't think I'd be in business if I did. Any other questions?
What happens should the board deny this for the height? How would you go about it?
It's a very expensive rectification if it can even be done. I don't know if it's so easily done because.
Well, they can be done.
No, it can be done. The question is to what extent of ease versus difficulty. The roof would have to be reframed slightly differently, and then you'd have to carry all those posts down, which might require ripping open floors, ceilings, walls to carry all the loads down to compensate.
That's why I'm saying I'm surprised no one is going to the responsible party and saying, hey, buddy, you're going to bear the expense of the problems you've created.
I will tell you, my client tried to sue the person who built his roof that collapsed on him during COVID. They closed the business and opened up another one. He has not recouped the funds. He spent over $300,000-$400,000 fixing not just the roof, but all the interior damage.
That's your other client.
I'm saying, but the people close.
No one's even telling me they asked. No one's even telling me who's responsible or that they inquired about it. So I just, whatever, I'm not going to beat a dead horse.
That concludes your case.
I believe that unless there are any other questions from the board, I can answer.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Flom, you and your client will both be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered. Thank you, folks. Have a nice day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Next, we have case 19825, Elmont Robert Honing. Remove, replace 6-foot-high fence forward of dwelling on Clay Street, also known as 1415 Clay Street. Ms. Kachia, we have you signed in from earlier. Just again, your name and address for the record.
Lisa Kashia with Permits R Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791. Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am here representing Mr. Honig, who would like to maintain a fence. This property is located in a Residence C zone. The 6-foot fence is forward of the dwelling where 4 foot is allowed. The fence that is there now is a 6-foot wood fence that has existed for approximately 25 years. Mr. Honig is looking to replace it with a 6-foot PVC fence. I know we're not here for a line of sight issue, but there are no line of sight issues with this. The neighbor's driveway is at least 50 feet away on the other side. The exact same location, correct.
Behind the house, it gets to the, even with the house, and then does it jet back there?
Yes. And it goes across the back.
Right, so it doesn't go out to the street there, right?
No, not on Crest Avenue, you mean?
Correct.
No, on the Crest Avenue side, it actually stops where the end of the house ends on Clay Street.
Right, and you say on the side where it abuts the Tenio residence, the Tenio driveway is not near the fence?
No, it's on that house, their driveway is on the opposite side of the house, on the other side. So it's about roughly like 50 feet or so until the neighbor's driveway, maybe even a little more.
Mr. Pellegrini is looking at the overhead view, and it looks like there might be a shed of some sort in that corner, or, I don't know, maybe it's something that's been removed, or...
In the
is
rear
removed.
corner behind the house? Or in the front?
In that section that jets forward of the house toward Clay Street.
There's a small, like, metal shed. I don't even think it requires a permit. It's very, very small.
It
In the
does,
front
and it's in
yard?
the front yard. It requires,
But I'm pretty sure, I'm just saying on the end of that, I'm pretty sure he's taking that down because it's not in great condition.
it should show on your plot plan, and said to be removed.
Okay. I'll make a note.
Well, if we decide to grant this, then we will, you would consent on behalf of your client to a condition that the shed in that portion of the front yard be removed. If he wants to put it elsewhere, he can get a permit, put it elsewhere, maybe the other corner in the back.
Yes.
You know, you have to go through the building department, figure that out.
Yes, you're talking about the shed that's on Clay Street. It's on that part of the fence that's on Clay Street. All the way
It's in
front.
a place that if we were to ask you to angle it on that neighbor,
You
you
wouldn't be able to do
'cause
it.
That's the
Okay,
shed.
okay.
Okay, are there any other, is that your case, Ms. Kachia?
Yes.
Are there any other questions from the board? If not, do we have a motion? Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Kachia, Thank you.
Lastly, we have cases 16325 through 16425, Wanta, Raymond Brodeur Jr., and Louise Brodeur. Mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, variance, lot area occupied, construct second-story addition and porch, both attached to dwelling, also known as 2877 Anderson Street.
I don't know. I
Good morning, distinguished board. My My name is Michael Degnan. I'm a registered architect.
Good morning, my name is Raymond Broder Jr., 2877 Anderson Street, 11793.
Our address at Long Island Architecture Studio is 1943 Wantor Avenue, Wantor, New York. Yes, I'm representing our clients Raymond and Louise Bredor. They are the owners and residents of the home for over 40 years. Their daughter Susan is also present today. She was raised in the home. Her husband Joshua has a business appointment, unable to attend today, regretfully. Okay, very good. Would you like me to start over?
You wouldn't mind.
So I'm representing our clients Raymond and Louise Brodeur. They are the owners and residents of the home for over 40 years. Their daughter Susan is also here today. Her husband Joshua regrets that he could not attend because he has a business appointment that was unavoidable. Our request today is for two variances. One is for lot coverage and the second for a mother-daughter second kitchen. I'll start with the lot coverage, if I may, our case number 164. And this is the result as part of the addition and the mother-daughter addition. We're proposing an open front porch. The house is in Zone Residence B. The base permitted lot coverage is 27.5%. However, there is an allowance in the zoning for accessory decking, which this property has in the rear, granting an additional allowance of 2.5%, bringing the total allowable coverage to 30%, and that equals 2,028 square feet, based on their lot size.
Well, you're saying you want to use the 30 as the measure to compare what you actually proposed because a portion of it is decking.
Correct.
Okay. How high off the grade is that?
It's less than 3 feet. The rear deck is less than 3 feet.
Doesn't it have to be under 8 inches, Becky, to use the 30 instead of 27 and a half? How high off the ground can the decking be? Okay, I thought it had to be 8 inches to count the other way. Okay.
Thank you.
So, and what is the proposed lot area occupied?
So the proposed lot area occupied is 32.7%, which is an overage of only 186 square feet.
Okay.
For case number 163, mother-daughter additional kitchen, it is proposed that there will be 4 family members residing in the house. As I mentioned earlier, 3 of the 4 are present today. The 4th one, Joshua, is not present. They have, there are 4 drivers, so they'll have 4 cars total. 2 can easily fit in an existing double-wide driveway, and then 2 will fit on the street directly in front of their home.
And there is no restriction on on-street parking in that area?
No.
In front of the home?
So the house as proposed will only have 1 electric meter, 1 gas meter. There will only be 1 front door, 1 doorbell, and 1 mailbox. There is an open stair connecting the levels, and the house can be easily restored to a 1-family dwelling. Our clients are aware that the approval, if the approval is granted, it is not transferable.
Is there a basement in the home, sir?
It's a split level, so there is a basement below the main level. It is proposed to be an open recreational area. We've also proposed a half bath, a 2-piece bath with no shower. As part of this application, there is also an egress well and not easily convertible to a staircase.
But that basement with that finished basement with the bathroom, that's not before us, right?
No, it is not.
Okay, I just want to put this on the record. As part of the process of a mother-daughter application, the Board of Architectural Review reviews each application, determine whether or not it's suitable to be used as a mother-daughter residence and suitable to revert back to a single-family residence at the cessation of such use. We do it often because the Board of Architectural Review from time to time makes recommendations about doors and other changes that need to be made to make it mother-daughter rather than a two-family, and gives the applicant the opportunity to tell us why some proposed changes may not be feasible for safety reasons for pets or children, or expense, etc. In the case of this review, the Board of Architectural Review has determined that the dwelling is suitable to be used in this fashion and restorable to a single-family dwelling, with the provision that there be no illegal occupancy in the basement. Okay? And it does make no recommendations, so we don't have to do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? That concludes your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
Any other
Madam.
questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Each of you who have signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank you all, and
Second.
thank you for being
All in
patient.
favor? Any
Thank you.
opposed?
Aye.
That concludes the morning calendar. We'll take a short break and come back and do decisions.
coverage, yeah. Wait, what happened to my two pens?
let's do decisions. All right. So first case, 179 of 2025, Baldwin, Rupnarain Singh, and Dina Wadi Singh Sukraj. That's a renewal of a grant to maintain a 6-foot-high PVC fence forward of the dwelling, which may substantially obstruct line of sight, and maintain a 3-foot-high picket fence within the clear sight triangle, property located 2960 Verity Lane. Do I have in Baldwin, do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I make the motion on case 17925 in Baldwin, renewal of a grant to maintain a 6-foot-high PVC fence forward of dwelling which may substantially obstruct line of sight, and maintain 3-foot-high picket fence.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
But we'll deal with the wording after.
Next case, 180 of 2025, Wantoa, Felix and Lisa Hanneman. Renewal of a grant to maintain a 5-foot-high fence larger than pool installation area and in the front yard setback on Oakfield Avenue, running through to Oakfield Avenue. Property address is 1298 Chelsea Road in Wantoa. Do I have any comments? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 180 of 25, Wantoa, Felix and Lisa Hanneman, located at 1298 Chelsea Road, be approved as requested, temporary, same conditions.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's the second case, though.
Okay. Case 181 of 2025,
You
Merrick.
see where my head is.
H&F Athletics, Inc., DBA Carefree Racket Club. Do I have any comments? If not, do I have a motion?
I move the case 181 of 2025, as you previously described it,
I didn't. You
affecting the
should
property
describe
at
it.
1414 Jerusalem Avenue, be approved and renewed with the same conditions that were previously imposed.
Second.
Second?
All in favor? Any opposed? Next case, 182 of 25, East Meadow. It doesn't make any sense for me to read it and then have somebody else read
I
it.
thought the same thing, that's why I...
182 of 25, I'll read it. East Meadow Emmy Food Corp., DBA McDonald's.
sound way better.
Renewal of a permit to maintain one double-faced illuminated ground sign, overall size 200 square feet. Overall height 17 feet, setback 16 feet from the property line. Property address is 2361 Hempstead Turnpike. Do I have any comments? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 182 of 2025 in East Meadow at 2361 Hempstead Turnpike be granted for a period of 5 years with the same previously imposed conditions.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Case 183 of 2025, West Hempstead, Paul Esposito. This is a renewal of a grant to maintain a 2-family dwelling. Property address is 74 Maplewood Street in West Hempstead. Do I have any comments? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 183 of 2025 with respect to 74 Maplewood Street in West Hempstead. Be granted as requested, 5 years, all 2-family dwelling conditions.
Second.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Case 184 of 2025 in West Hempstead, Jonathan Maslow, variances, lot area occupied, side yard aggregate, construct an addition, second-story addition, two-story addition, garage conversion to living space, and roofed over, open porch, all attached to dwelling. Do I have any comments? I'd like to make one. The roofed-over open porch, we should add a condition that that not be enclosed. Other than that, any other comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I make a motion on case 18425 West Hempstead, Jonathan Maslow, variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, construct addition, and that the porch remain open.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Case 185 of 2025 in Merrick, South Nassau, Hellenic Community Incorporated, DBA St. Demetrius Church. That case was granted from the bench. Okay, next case is 186 and 187 of 2025, Uniondale. Andres I. Benavides and Belgian Benavides, a.k.a. Belgian Orellana. It's a mother and daughter residence, second kitchen, maintain a shed higher than permitted. Any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 186 to 187 of 25, Uniondale, located at 1039 Smith Street, be approved as requested. Close out open permits, and the shed has been removed.
The usual mother-daughter
Yes, usual
conditions.
mother- yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Case 188 of 2025, Letitia Umeki McCain, variance front yard setback on Cherry Place, maintain a one-story addition, roofed-over patio, both attached to dwelling. Any comments regarding the roofed-over patio, that it should be kept open? In addition to that, any other comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Is it me? Yes. Okay, I move, Mr. Chairman, case 188, 2025, as you previously described, affecting the property at 354 Cherry Place in East Meadow, be approved as requested with the condition that the open area be maintained in such fashion. That's all.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
Now we come to a real case. Case 189 of 2025, Atlantic Beach, Ezra and Lauren Merkin. That's a special exception to maintain a cabana higher and larger than permitted and not used only for purposes of showering and dressing in conjunction with the use of the pool. Construction materials and methods not of flood-resistant materials, flood vents more than 1 foot above grade, structure not elevated, property address is 1458 Bay Boulevard. Any comments?
I'll just make a motion to include some conditions. I move that we grant the requested relief with the condition that the cabana be allowed, used for showering and dressing as is already allowable. And in addition, that we allow them to use it for storage. In addition to that, that we grant the motion for the materials and methods not of flood-resistant materials to apply to the cabana, only for the portions of the cabana that are both interior and exterior that are below the DFE, the design flood elevation as required by the state. And otherwise, my move would grant the requested relief.
Second?
Oh, temporary for 5 years.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Any opposed? Next case is 190, 191, and 92 in 2025 in West Hempstead. Deborah Ginsburg, variances, lot area occupied, side yard aggregate, rear yard. Construct one-story addition attached to dwelling while removing the existing deck. Variance, lot area occupied, maintain the shed. And variance, side yard, maintain an air conditioning unit attached to the dwelling. Property address is 585 Euclid Avenue. Do I have any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 190 and 192 to 192 in West Hempstead, Deborah Ginsburg at 585 Euclid Avenue be granted as requested.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Case 193 of 2025, Robert Verity in East Meadow. Average front yard setback, construct a second-story addition with a 2-foot cantilever, both attached to the dwelling. That was a de minimis variance, but I'd like a motion unless somebody else has a comment.
I move case 193 of 2025, location of property 1667 Meadow Lane in East Meadow, be granted as requested.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Case 194 of 2025, Franklin Square. Frank A. Franzi. Rear yard setback. Maintain, not construct. We amended the caption. Maintain second-story addition over the garage, which was built without the benefit of a permit, like,
Christina?
just like everything else.
Can you, I'm just curious, if you have a spare moment, that fence was not just a 6-foot solid fence, but it was also on top of like a 1-foot wall. Can you just check if we granted that temporary? Sure. And how high we granted? Sure.
Is that on this case?
Yeah.
It was a prior case affecting this property.
Yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, someone else can do it, Gary.
I make a motion file number 194 of 25 Franklin Square, Frank A. Franzi, be granted as a maintained as requested.
Aye.
Reese Rockaway. We're amending that. Case 195, 2025, near East Rockaway, Anthony Cooper. Average front yard setback, construct a portico attached to the dwelling. Of course, the portico will remain open and not enclosed. Any other comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 195-25, East Rockaway, Anthony Cooper, variance, average front yard setback, construct portico attached to dwelling at 7 Euclid Point Avenue, and the portico remains open.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Case 196 of 25, Michael Bender. Variance, lot area occupied, maintained roofed over patio, another one, attached to dwelling. Property address 1709 Willis Avenue. Obviously, the board should impose a condition that the roofed over patio not be enclosed. Other than that, do I have another motion?
I move case 196 of 25, Merrick Michael Bender at 1709 Willis Avenue be approved as requested with the statement of keeping the patio open.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm going to skip 197 because I think there'll be a little discussion on that.
Yes, I think we
Let's
should
go,
look at
let's
the
go to
area.
198 in Elmont. Robert Honig, remove and replace a 6-foot-high fence forward of the dwelling on Clay Street. Do I have any comment from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
That showed a shed in the front yard?
Yeah, we need to make the removal of that shed a condition.
Yeah, we need to make the removal of the shed a condition.
Well put.
Is it my turn?
I would say we should make, of course.
Maybe we should hold the decision until it's removed?
It is yours.
Should we keep it on reserve until it's removed?
No. I would just move, Mr. Chairman, case 198 of 2025, be granted as requested with the condition that the shed temporarily and condition the shed in the front yard be removed.
Second?
Second?
60 days of the grant.
Within 60 days? Okay.
I didn't know. I was
Within
gonna get a
60
permit to
days.
take it out.
She articulated that later. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 60 days. Cases 163 and 64 of 2025, Raymond Brodeur Jr. and Louise Brodeur, mother-daughter residence, lot area occupied, construct second-story addition and porch, both attached to dwelling. Any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 163 of 2025 be granted with the usual mother-daughter conditions, and that case 164 of 2025, it's all located at 2877 Anderson Street in Wanto, be granted as requested.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Let's go to reserve.
What was the lottery?
Let's go to the videotape. So we're gonna hold 197 for a discussion at the end of these decisions.
That and yours in inspection.
And we're gonna hold 197 for inspections, okay?
Maybe we hold the discussion.
197,
Maybe we do the discussion after we all have a chance to inspect.
yeah. Okay, anything on page 1?
Yes, well, let's see. Go ahead, you go through the first stuff.
712 to 714 Roosevelt, you were going to inspect the fence. And,
It was nice.
was it?
And all the other, the applicant is, no, I just want to say, part of the delay with this case was the applicant getting some things done, and that they have finally gotten those things done now.
Yes, and COVID was around, and I inspected the property, and there's a school right across the street on the south side of St. Francis, or east side, west side, all around the town. The fence on the north side of the property should be cut back 1 4-foot section. That should clear the neighbor's abutting driveway. The fence on the, let's see, that's north, this would be southeast, right? The fence on Bennett, Bennett Avenue abuts a neighbor, and that needs to be cut back as our usual clear sight triangle.
Whatever it is, you're right.
And then, not before us, but there's a big bush at the corner of St. Francis and Bennett Avenue, clearly obstructs the view.
I don't know if we can,
Well, we should, because there's a school across the street.
but I don't know if we have the authority.
Well, Christina will say that in the grant, and that will make us have the authority.
She'll look into it.
You can have the whole thing.
Do you have a motion then?
That's my motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay,
Highland Park, we're waiting on.
yeah, that's been adjourned. There's still work, the next case, 742 and 743, they're still working on 3031. New plans have been uploaded. We're waiting for the plans examiner to review and make sure that all of the issues are now resolved. 3021?
Yeah, so that case, I inspected the neighborhood a couple of times. That's listed as a construct three-story dwelling, so I went over it with Rebecca and others to try and figure out, this is really a two-story dwelling on top of a FEMA level. But this issue of how it's to be worded is constantly giving us trouble ever since Sandy. So, in working with Rebecca, she had indicated, you see how it just says construct three-story dwelling with garage? What it should say is construct three-story dwelling with garage, quote, in a special flood hazard zone, and then I would suggest adding parenthetically, resulting in 2 stories of usable space or something like that, because the goal is to have this distinguished from a regular 3-story structure, which the town frowns on, and to identify it as really a category in and of itself of these structures that would look like a 3-story, but are in fact a FEMA story required by state and federal law and town law, and with 2 stories of usable space. So I would move that was the main issue holding up the dealing with this case, was getting that resolved. Because we don't need to be presented with this case, for example, for someone who's seeking a 3-story that's not in a flood zone, is a true 3-story, which is not acceptable. So I would move that we, with the proper language, identifying this house as what it actually is, it's really a 2-story structure on top of a FEMA zone, a FEMA level, in a special flood hazard zone, that we approve it as requested with that clarification in the decision.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now,
Wait a minute.
I was absent.
Hold on.
could we, could we have the,
I need one other issue.
could we notify the people in the building department, or is it,
Apparently it's ours.
who characterizes it? We
So
do?
according to Becky, it
So,
was us.
so in the future, that's exactly what the verbiage is going to be.
So how we've normally done it, if it's violative because it exceeds the number of stories, there's gonna be a separate denial in our caption which reads, exceeds number of stories. So that's how it's distinguishable. And what we've done in the past is, we have a few whereas clauses which basically reads, this is a FEMA 3, first area is not habitable space, we've characterized this as really a 2-story.
Okay.
So we
Wait,
do
I have-
handle it.
There's one other issue.
Because that's, we don't wanna be
we're gonna vote on it this afternoon.
I'm gonna take care
Because
of that.
she's,
Vote on what? The case, 'cause I'll
Close. Would you like to make a motion, Mark?
put the mark on.
I make a motion on file number 156 of 25 Franklin Square, Muhammad Ahmad, to amend the caption and grant it as requested.
Yep, got it, to include side yard aggregate.
And to include side yard aggregate.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That was a silent second almost.
Okay. So the next one, I do have a slight update. We did ask for amended plans. You'll remember, this was the garage that was built with that gable roof, and there was question as to whether or not it needed a height variance. It does need a height variance.
Which one is this?
Case 160. So,
Oh, is this the one where the people came in?
there was opposition. Correct. So at this point, I don't believe the board can decide this case because it's been denied today as needing height. So if they are to proceed forward, it's gonna need to,
Wait, we're not denying.
They're gonna have
it
to come back.
Right?
the building department just denied it as needing
Oh,
height.
okay, I just meant we didn't deny it.
No, we did not, but we can't decide this yet because that's gonna trigger additional fees and,
Well, I would, wait.
So-
I would think we should rehear it without a fee because the building department made the mistake, not them.
we can't waive fees that are imposed by town board.
Okay, but
So
we could reopen it.
you could reopen it if you like.
I'm just saying, in fairness, I have no idea. I don't know, I'm just saying, in fairness. But I'm just saying, in
We
fairness,
need the money.
they didn't make a mistake.
But either way,
Whatever.
either way, I mean, how does the board wanna handle it? Does the board wanna?
Well, why don't we just hold it here while they decide if they want to move us to reopen it or whatever they, let them figure out. Why don't we just let them figure out
Let them make
procedurally
the
how they-
application.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great.
Let's just
All
let
right.
them figure out how they wish to proceed.
I'm not gonna say it on the record.
Well,
I'm not.
hold on. I thought the building department just denied it for height and the applicant is going to become aware of that.
The applicant was just made aware of it.
Okay, so
This morning, this literally happened this morning.
I know, so I'm just saying, I assume they're either gonna send us a letter here to add height, whatever it is. They're gonna figure out how they wanna proceed.
I think it's on us to figure out how we
Why
wanna
don't
go
we just
forward.
hold this and see what, because like, maybe they'll change the structure. I just don't know. I just figure, why wouldn't we just wait till they decide how they wish to proceed? I know, but if we wait a week or two, we're gonna know if they're gonna
We have
change
to-
it or what.
We have to wait anyway because there's
Yeah.
a new denial.
That's all, that's all I'm
There's a
saying.
new denial, but, you know, that they're being made aware that it also needs height.
Yeah,
If
so
they wanna
it-
go forward, they have to
Figure out how they're gonna do that.
either pay for the height or come into compliance.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So maybe they'll go, shoot, forget it. We're gonna carve a, but I agree with you. But I'm just saying.
I will, again, this happened this morning.
Yeah, so we'll wait 2 weeks and see what they decide.
All right, we're gonna hold it. Next case, 168,
Yeah, I looked at that once, I wanna look over the
we'll
materials.
hold it. Anus Development.
I did send a draft decision out. I did.
You wanna make that motion, Mr. Pellegrini?
I believe we also need a secret determination.
I believe you do.
Case number 1307 of 2025, the Anos Development Corp. in Seaford to construct canopies, et cetera, at 3875 Merrick Road in Seaford, that the board adopt a negative deck based upon the materials and testimony.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
As to the case itself, 1307, same applicants at 3875 Merrick Road, that the board grant the case as requested.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
And then finally, we have cases 1302 through 1305 of 25 Malvern Gold.
Now, I was acting chair at that point. I cannot make the motion, but I will say that we have to do a secret determination before we act on the case.
I'll make the motion if you
Oh,
want.
yes, okay, I'll call the case, I'm sorry. 1302 of 2025 in Malvern Gold LLC. It's a constructed dwelling with a garage. It's on parcel number 1. And 1303 of 2025 Malvern Gold subdivision parcel number 2. 1304 2025, also a subdivision with the as written, the various, thank you and good night.
And 1305, I know it is.
1305 of 2025, and applicant is Malvern Gold, and it's a subdivision, also parcel number 4. I have a motion or comments?
I have some comments.
Did we make a secret determination?
Not yet comments.
He's just calling.
Go ahead.
Comments.
Okay. From my perspective, they're building 4 houses on a 40,000-foot lot that could conceivably have an apartment building on, or 7 houses. And this is good, productive use of the property. Also, as far as the traffic is concerned, there's a lot of traffic there anyway, and 4 houses is not going to change it much. So in my opinion, we should, the draft decision, I agree with.
Okay, we have to do
Secret.
a secret.
Gotta do a secret.
So your
I'm-
motion is that the board adopt a negative declaration?
I make a motion that the board adopt a negative declaration as to the secret determination based on testimony given, exhibits, and other material we reviewed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not
Aye.
participating, so.
Now I make
Negative
a
deck is
motion
on.
on all 4 cases described be granted with conditions.
I second it.
Now, our council
New
today-
construction conditions.
What we're going to do is adopt the draft
The
decision
draft
that
decision.
council put together, which includes a brief explanation of why we did what we did, and the new house conditions, et cetera. We all read that, it was emailed to us, and that's being adopted. Second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, call for a motion. I didn't second that. Did you?
I have it as Mark and.
Mark made it and John seconded.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, let me do this. Administrative?
We have extensions Case number 672 of 2024. It was granted, and they need to secure a permit. It was construction, let's see here. It was in North Woodmere. It was to secure a building permit, and the original case was lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, construct an addition. So we have I recommend that the board grant a 9-month extension of time for this case. We'll do it all lumping in. Case number 725 of 2024, Congregation Yadel Torah in somewhere in Woodmere. They need a special exception for their synagogue for, as a social hall. It's the first time it was granted with conditions. They need an extension of time. They're still going through the permit process. Case number 69 of 2019. Pedro Cartioli. It's an Island Park. Should get called back. Should it? It's an extension of time. It was granted, it's the third extension of time. It was granted in 1/16/2019. It's in, was a partial subdivision in Island Park. And the last request for a extension of time is Casimir. It's in Elmont Randall Avenue, and it was for a mother-daughter. It was granted 2/7/24, and I would move or suggest that we grant 9-month extensions of time for all of them. What say you, Mrs. Adams?
Second. All in favor? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
What case was that? What number?
Joe's got the other one.
Case? Okay. So,
I'm not.
you're not?
I'm against it.
Well, that's a vote, isn't it?
I don't know, I feel like Joanne and Joe are leaning toward okay.
Tell you what, since some of the board, there's a split on the board with respect to whether or not we should act on 197 of 25, so I think we're going to adjourn the case, and I'm going to look at it.
Or not
And
adjourn it,
eh,
reserve it.
Put it on reserve. I'll look at it, other people should look at it.
I will
Sure.
look at it and look at the neighborhood.
Could always ask
Has
a question.
there been other situations similar to this?
I can't think of one this egregious.
3 feet, 3
Yeah.
feet, this is,
Not a
I mean,
measuring error.
my personal opinion, without moving forward in terms of inspecting it,
Right.
this is at best a self-created hardship.
Right.
At best. You know, I mean, I remember
With knowledge of forethought.
there was a rumor